Flip, 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 Flip Weekly.
Hello and welcome to the Flip Weekly podcast. My name is Matt and this is a podcast all about reselling, going to thrift stores, op shops, garage sales, finding things on Facebook Marketplace that we can buy low, sell high. It's the name of the game. Now, I have a big podcast episode for you this week. We have to talk about the tariffs. We have to talk about things that we found in thrift stores. We have a very, very simple tip for you. When you're going to Savers, head straight to this section, look exactly for this item. I did it this week and I turned $20 into $200, sold in less than 10 minutes. I'm going to talk about some sales. I'm going to announce the winner of last week's podcast contest for a $50 gift card. And we have all of that and more. So like I said, this was a really exciting week because there was a United States Supreme Court announcement. Well, a result, I guess, when something comes through the courts and the judges say what the verdict is. I guess in a way it's a result, and it was that the United States tariffs were implemented illegally, meaning all of that money that they collected does not belong to the government. Now, this is good in a way for us resellers. I mean, it's horrible for everyone else. It's horrible for all of those United States citizens that paid money on those tariffs. Horrible for the companies, the businesses that went bankrupt, people that lost their jobs, to then be sitting at home and hearing that the Supreme Court said, I mean, the reason you were fired, the reason your business went under is because the government did something illegal. You should be so fucking outraged at that. So fucking outraged. And you know all that money that was collected is not going to go to the people that paid it. It might go to the companies that are, have the means to sue the government for that. But here's why I was a bit excited when this happened. I do not ship to the US at the moment. And I know a lot of resellers, especially here in Australia, have joined websites like Zonos in order to pay the tariffs to ship to the US. I've been on the side that's basically like, I'm just going to wait it out. Every single time that I go to my local post office and I ship something overseas, the people there that know me are like, when are you going to start shipping to the US? Join Zonos. And I'm like, I do not want to join this fucking website. I know nothing about it. I think I signed up once and one of their buttons, the CSS, like, the styling for the button was off, and it made me feel like this was a solution that wasn't really thought through. So I was like, I'm not going to give these guys my personal information, nor am I going to start paying them money, just because of a simple coding error. So I decided I'm just going to wait it out. I'm of that mindset that the current US government is they're like me waiting in line to check out at the supermarket, and you see, like a fucking Snickers bar on sale for $1.50, and you're like, oh, might as well pick that up. It's very spontaneous. It's very sporadic. It's all over the place. It feels like it's, just like me when I'm picking up that $1.50 Snickers bar. It's poorly thought out. You haven't thought about the ramifications of buying a Snickers bar, taking it home and ingesting all those empty fucking calories. It just feels like there's no thought put behind any of this shit. So I'm like, okay, normalcy may come back to normal. We're on a really bad timeline in the world, but we're not on the absolute worst right now. When I saw that first announcement, I was like, okay, things might go back to normal. But then, of course, no, there is a new 10% tariff that was announced. And then not long after that, there was a 15% tariff announced. But again, we aren't on the worst timeline yet. So that 15% tariff was announced via social media. And thankfully for us, social media statements are not official. The 10% still stands. It's all a mess. I did check out Zonos. They have my email address. They don't have anything else. They've been fucking sending out some emails, man. I've been receiving email after email from them after every, announcement in the US basically saying we have no idea what the fuck's going on. We're going to keep you updated as much as we can, but we're getting no information. We're trying to find information from, I guess, their local sources or whoever the fuck they get info from. And they're just like, yeah, we're just going along for the ride. We'll keep invoicing you. We have no idea what's going on. Welcome to the fucking show. You know what I mean? So I'm not getting on that roller coaster. I'm not jumping on that ride. It's just chaotic. The amount of governments around the world that have come out and have said that this chaos really needs to stop. They're thinking like, well, now that this has been ruled illegal, what else falls apart? Do other trade deals fall apart? What is going to happen? And the truth is, nobody really fucking knows except for one person. And man, without getting into too much politics, I just think that this is something where me personally, I'm just going to stay out of. I'm just going to, back up into that bush like Homer Simpson did and stay out of it. I'm not going to jump into it. As much as I would like to start shipping again to the US, I'm just going to wait. I think that the government has something like 150 days or 115 days that they can implement these 10% tariffs for before they need to, I guess, figure out a different solution or try something else. Whatever 150 days from now is, we'll see another huge update unless something happens before, unless somebody wakes up on the wrong side of the fucking bed and is like, I don't know, maybe Australia pisses off the US by doing something. There's, oh man. Anyway, we're not shipping to the US right now. And if you are, I don't know what your tariff situation is going to be like. I don't know how you're dealing with it, to be honest, especially if you're running, an actual business. Like this is a side hustle type thing for me. I don't know how you would base your business on, like a clapping monkey, right? It just doesn't make any sense. And like I said, man, like people have lost their jobs, lost their businesses in the States and in different parts of the world because of these tariffs, especially if they've been shipping and using the US as a market to sell into. So I feel bad for them. I really do. There's just nothing that any one of us can do outside the US to affect change. We just have to watch from afar and hope that the fire doesn't spread over to us, right? So anyway, we had that news. I was excited, and then I was brought back down to reality. And then we had the other news that has been, I guess, hitting the reseller world is eBay buying Depop. Now, I don't use Depop. I feel like I'm too old for it, to be honest. And for eBay to spend, billions of dollars on the platform, don't know what's going to happen. But man, I feel for the younger people that sort of popularized that website, because if they thought that it was cool beforehand, just wait until like a bunch of baby boomers join the site. It's gonna be really fucking cool then. It's just like, what's that word? Gentrification. It's gentrification, right? Happens all the time here in Sydney. All these little suburbs that were once cool little artist, hipster, breeding grounds for creative talent. You get the older people. Well, not so much the older people, just people with more money, I guess, come in and they ruin things. They say no McDonald's on this street. Anyway, we had that happen. Man, what else happened this week? We made a bunch of sales. We found some cool shit. We had some cool stuff on Marketplace, on thrift stores. I'm going to tell you about an area in Savers that you can head to right now. You can go out to Savers this afternoon. Whenever you're listening to this, head straight to this area in Savers and look through it and see if you can replicate my success. And of course, like I said earlier, we're going to announce the winner of the podcast contest. You got to stick around for that. But I think for now, let's leave politics behind. Let's leave the reseller news and get straight into what we've picked up this week. So I went into Savers, one of my local Savers, for my regular trip. I ignored the complete bottom half. It's all women's clothes. I don't know anything about women's clothes, really. I went up the stairs and I went straight to the men's activewear. Now, this is what you can do at home. Okay, follow this. Straight into Savers, straight to the men's activewear. There isn't much there, right? It's like a single rack. You don't have to go through thousands of items. Men, for some reason, do not donate many clothes. And when they do donate clothes, like I would say like 1 in 5, 1 in 6 is a sports jersey. I talk about sports jerseys all the time, but this week I found probably the coolest one I've ever found in a thrift store. And I find a lot of these things, it's all different sports, it's all different teams, quality, the value, whatever. But yeah, maybe 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 trips, I find a home run jersey. And if you're in Australia, you'd have to be to go to Savers. You're going to come across mostly your local suburbs team. They're not really worth anything. And then you'd find the professional leagues, and the big money lies in those one-off designs, vintage items, teams that no longer exist anymore, and that is a thing. And the jersey quality is a massive factor when it comes to pricing these things. And obviously the more detailed it is, the more work that has been put into it, the more desirable it is. I mean, it's just like anything else. So for example, when I was there the other day, I found a Sydney Roosters team jersey from around the year 2000, and it had printed on logos and sponsors. This sort of thing, I would be able to sell this $15 jersey for maybe like 50, 60 bucks on Marketplace. I left it behind because it wasn't that high quality. I want embroidery done on it. I want, patches that aren't printed on. The money, man, is in the embroidery. So I kept looking, and I found probably the coolest jersey I've ever found. It was a long sleeve, and it was for the Newcastle Knights, which is an NRL team. And I paid $20.49 for it. Now, this jersey was from around 2005, 2006. And I'd like to think of myself as, a bit of a sleuth when it comes to finding things online. I spent a solid hour looking for any information on this jersey, and I came up empty. There was nothing, not a single thing. And most NRL jerseys are the short sleeve. So to find something which is the long sleeve, I honestly didn't hesitate to pick it up, especially when I'm only paying $20 for it. And so I grew up about 30 minutes from Newcastle. Not to dox myself. And for a while there, the Newcastle Knights, red and blue team, were my favorite team to support. As we got older, Sam used to live walking distance away from the stadium. And so we went to the games all the time. And I think the rest of Newcastle did too, because I like to always think, or I always like to say that there is absolutely nothing else to do in Newcastle. And so people just rock up at the stadium to watch this team, even though the period that we were going to it, they were the worst team in the entire competition for several years. They would always end up at the bottom. And I guess even to this day, they probably are, still one of the worst teams. But people just go to the stadium because Newcastle's a boring fucking city. I shouldn't even say a city, fucking town, right? And I liked going to those games. I have really fond memories of going to them. And it wasn't so much for like the players on the field attempting to play a sport. It was more just testing the limits of how many watered down, fucking overpriced beers that we could carry back to our seats. And, we came to realize that you couldn't order more than 4 at once at the bars. They just wouldn't let you. You try to order more than 4 beers, they'd just turn you away, which I guess, it makes sense. Imagine a stadium full of drunk Newcastle people, and it's guaranteed your team's going to lose. So drunk Newcastle angry people, it's not a good thing. Anyway, finding that sports team merch in Sydney, it's not common. I have maybe found, it's less than five times I've ever found a Newcastle Knights jersey here in Sydney. But when I see something in an op shop that reminds me of Newcastle like that, it fills me with fucking joy. It brings me joy, warms my heart. My heart grows 2 fucking sizes. So I pick it up. It's $20. I had no exact comps to go off, and we're really relying on our knowledge. And we look at similar sort of listings on eBay, and I look for like vintage long sleeve NRL jerseys. I don't find many. The design style is really rare, but I can see like a South Sydney Rabbitohs one that sold 26th of January about a month ago for $220. I can see a St. George one selling for $150 back in January too. So I'm like, well, I paid $20. I'm going to take a gamble. Let's try and 10x our money. on Marketplace for $200, and on eBay I'm putting it up for $250. So that would be 20 into either $200 or $250. And you know what? The NRL season is just around the corner. Like, the opening round is scheduled for March 1st in Las Vegas, which, funnily enough, is my birthday. Hooray, hooray. It is a birthday, by the way. It is not a birthday week or a birthday month. The very first game is between the Newcastle Knights and the North Queensland Cowboys. So with this sort of like major event coming up in the sport, I think it's going to sell quickly, and you're going to find out what happened to it because there has been an update with it. And look, this is my message to you. You might not like sport, you might not like, picking up any sort of clothes, but do you like turning $20 into $200 or $250? If you say yes to this, here's all you need to do. Go to Savers, go straight to men's activewear, and look for sports jerseys. You want the big name sponsors, you want large cities, major sports. You need to tell me if you find any. And just look, when you're looking through the racks, you're going to find it. Okay, I'm going to assume you know nothing about sport, right? You know nothing. You're going to find whatever suburb you're in, you're going to find jerseys for like the kids teams the kids team, like say for example, it's not Sydney Roosters, it would be like Bankstown Tigers, a smaller suburb within the city. For the major sporting teams, it's always going to be Sydney Roosters or Brisbane Broncos. Or if it comes to rugby, it's always going to be a country or a state. Here in Australia, I like to avoid NBA jerseys because they're always fake in the thrift stores. But if I'm finding NRL, if I'm finding AFL, I'm always going to pick them up. And look, just do that for me. Go to your thrift store, head to the men's activewear, look for the sports jerseys, and pick up anything that looks cool. Give it a Google lens and see what you can find. I just pray that you leave some behind for me, because finding these jerseys is honestly adding it's adding hundreds of dollars to my bank account every single month. I find that fucking many. It doesn't take much research or knowledge to be able to spot them. It's not hard. It honestly is not fucking hard. And it's not like you have to rummage through an entire downstairs of clothing. You go to Savers Camperdown, it's all women's clothing on the bottom. There's so much fucking clothing there. I'd get lost if I it's like the is it the catacombs in some European country where people go down, they go into the sewers and they get fucking lost? It's like that in Savers Camperdown. You just go up to the men's section, look how poor the variety is, and you can look through all of that men's activewear in less than 5 minutes. Maybe a bit longer because you don't have, I guess, the experience that I have when looking at sports jerseys. But please, for the love of God, if you like making money, do that. And again, tag me if you find anything, because I do want credit. Look, I'm not going to lie. I do want some fucking credit. I do want like a little pat on the back. I want some good karma. Anyway, let's move away from Savers. Let's move away from me basically exposing, well, for the fucking 10th time, a way to make a lot of money. And I'm going to tell you about another item that I find on Marketplace all the fucking time that you can steal from me and take some money out of my pocket. And for some reason, I don't understand why people do this. They're giving it away for free. And I can understand if you give away like 10 different bags worth of shit, because you have a large pile of stuff laying around your house. You want it all gone. I will never understand the people that give away like small items. Like, oh, I have 3 books that I need gone, so I'm going to give them away on Marketplace. You have to deal with fucking being inundated with messages from Marketplace, people that aren't reliable, the most unreliable people ever. I'm going to tell you a story a bit later about a guy who fucking pissed me off this week after I confirmed with him multiple times saying, are you 100% sure? 100% sure you're coming out? He's like, yes. And like later that afternoon, yeah, I can't make it. I'm like, you fucking cunt. You fucking cunt. Imagine dealing with that when it comes to like, I'm giving away 3 books. This isn't what I found, by the way. But anyway, you have to deal with that. You have to deal with, arranging a meetup. You receive no money, and the end result is you get like the tiniest bit of space back in your home. I don't understand it. I really don't. You know, if I had 3 books that I wanted to give away that I needed gone from my home and I couldn't be fucked donating them to a thrift store and I couldn't be fucked dealing with Marketplace, chuck it in your fucking bin. I don't care. Chuck it in your recycling bin. I don't know if they can be recycled, but come on. It's going to end up like that at the thrift store anyway, right? We're going to make a profit from this item. What this guy was giving away, it was a Sony Walkman. It was the cassette Sony Walkman. This might get a bit repetitive considering I've found these on Facebook Marketplace before for free and I've been able to fix them and make a lot of money. That is what I think is going to happen again here. This was a Sony Walkman WM-FX10. What you need to know about that is its red variant. It is. It said it was not working, but in the description it said the radio was working, the cassette tape part of it wasn't working. And when I saw this, I thought, well, most Sony Walkman cassette tape players are black. This one is red, you know, and what I've said to you millions of times before, when anything's just a tiny bit different, it means it's a bit rarer, blah, blah, blah. I quickly messaged this guy and I was able to secure a pickup. Now, this guy has said in the description that, you know, the radio worked fine, but the drive belt was torn and then in brackets already removed. Now, you will know that here at Flip Weekly, we are a one-trick pony when it comes to Sony Walkmans. If this thing only needs a new belt, I've done that before and it is really fucking easy to fix. I think I might make a video showing you how to do it so that you can make big money repairing these things too, providing of course it's just the belt. But look, Sony is a really, really good company in the sense that they make high quality shit. You know, you can buy Sony radios from like 30, 40 years ago, plug it in and it just turns on. So they make good quality items. I think that if this is just the drive belt that needs replacing, then we're going to be able to get it to work. And the way you replace the drive belts, it will take you maybe 15 minutes to do. And you, in most cases, you don't need any sort of tools. You just need to buy the new belt. And I bought the new belt for this. It was like $20, not expensive. And it's really like playing Operation. You know, there's a part in Operation where the ankle bone is connected to the knee bone and it's represented by an elastic band. And that elastic band is like inserted inside and stretched and wrap around 2 pegs on this guy's leg. It's exactly like that. All you need to do is stretch out the rubber band and wrap it around the belt, you know, I guess cogs in the fucking machine. And again, I am not a fucking electronic dude. I know nothing about, you know, things like that. I remember once I was at my nan's place and she was like, would you like to take apart this? I don't know what it was. It was like a sander, you know, something, an electronic sander. She said it wasn't working anymore. Would you like to take this apart and just have a look at it? And I was like, okay. And I swear to God, I just took a hammer to it and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, why are you offering me to take apart a sander? I was like, I think I was like 12 years old. I didn't know what taking apart a sander, what was I going to look at when I opened it up to? I literally just bashed the shit out of it with a hammer. It did nothing. I just caved in parts of it. And then I guess it was thrown out, went inside and, you know, fucking watched daytime TV because there's nothing else to do. I'm not somebody that can pull apart a piece of electronics and know what I'm looking at. I'm chucking on YouTube and I'm getting a basic understanding that I'm trying it for myself. If that doesn't work, then, you know, I just throw it off the balcony. So it is very easy to repair these things. And people, when they pull them out of storage, they test it out. If it doesn't work, they usually throw it. In this case, this guy has put it up for free on Facebook Marketplace. Bless his soul. We paid nothing for it. I bought the belt, $20. We look at sold listings and we look at active listings. This thing has an insane sell-through rate. 200 active listings, over 600 sold listings. These things sell really quickly. And because we have a red variant, there's very little listed up. I think last time that I checked out comps, there was none listed up, but there was a sale. And the sale was for $169.95 plus $10 postage. So you add that up, $179.95, basically $180. I think I can list this up for $200 and get that sale. So it'd be $20 into $200, and all I have to do is play a bit of Operation. It's that fucking easy. And if you train your little Facebook Marketplace algorithm to send you these listings, when it knows that you like this sort of shit, it becomes even easier, man. You open up Facebook Marketplace and Marketplace is like, hey, Matt, would you like this free $200 Sony Walkman? I'm like, hell yes. All you have to do is go out, open up some dude's gate and try and get inside of his complicated mailbox. So very, very simple. You can steal this idea too, man. Find these old Sony Walkmans and repair them yourself. Buy the belt, replace them. Make yourself $200 fucking dollars. The only issue is that the belt is coming from man, I can't remember where it was. I think it was coming from like a place that you wouldn't expect it to come from, like Slovenia. And it's scheduled to arrive by March 9. So it takes a bit of time to get here. The other alternative to buying it from Slovenia was Ukraine. I honestly don't know what it is about Ukraine and having some, unusual items that ship to Australia. And, the situation in Ukraine right now, I don't think I want to be... Look, I want to support them, sure. But I just don't think I want to be relying on them to, post things out in a quick manner. Because I think there's other important things to do than get me my fucking drive belt. Anyway, moving on. Let's go to Vinny's. And last week I talked about continuing my journey of finding signed books by prominent celebrities and entertainers, and some of them can fetch really, really big money, especially if the person is dead. Now, that's morbid, sure. It doesn't really sound okay to be doing, profiting off signatures from people that have passed away, especially because you're buying it from a thrift store. And I just know when I make a video about this, I'm going to get even more comments from people that are shunning what we do, man. To this day, I still get comments, people telling me on Instagram that going to thrift stores and buying stuff to resell is, bottom of the barrel stuff, the scummy behavior. I had somebody the other day call me a grub. Somebody was like, this is literally the scummiest thing you can do. I'm like, are you sure? You don't think there's anything fucking worse in the world than going to a thrift store and picking up an item to resell? Just wait until I say that I make money from dead cunts. I mean, I think that some people, they think that we go into a thrift store and just steal shit, right? They think that we're not giving the thrift store any sort of, compensation for their items. I don't understand their mindset, man. We're paying for the items. We're buying. Thrift store puts out an item for $5. We go in and we give them $5. Scummy behavior. You're a fucking grub. What are you talking about, bro? This is honestly bizarre, man. Anyway, I like to reply to those comments late at night with probably inappropriate things. Like that guy that just commented grub on my Instagram video. And I said to him, I just replied to the comment saying, you forgot to add the @ symbol when tagging your wife. really, really uncalled for, but it's just like, what are you doing, bro? Why are you coming on my Instagram profile and calling me a grub or saying that scummy behavior, the absolute low-life scum? Oh, God. We could get into that, man. We should do a fucking compilation of all the ridiculous comments that are being posted on social media about reselling. But anyway, what did I find? That's right. We went into a Vinny's and we found a signed book, and I found her signature before. I found it again. Olivia Newton-John, Australian legend, former Australian singer, entertainer. She was an actress. She was in Greece with John Travolta. I'm always looking for dead people's signatures because they can't sign shit anymore. I mean, it makes sense. I found her book before. It was a biography and it was signed. I think I sold it in like a couple of hours for $250. This one was Olivia Newton-John Live Wise. Now, Live Wise is a cookbook, easy recipes for a healthy, happy life. And she signed it in her shorthand signature, which is just ONY. And she had a little love heart underneath that. So cookbooks, I found, aren't going to sell for as much as like a biography when it comes to a signature. So I'm not going to market this as like a cookbook, right? I'm going to focus all of my marketing. When I say marketing, I just mean the title, the description, and the photos on the fact that it's a signature and the fact that the book is about living a healthy life, right? Not going to say it's a cookbook because it just doesn't, it feels like it devalues it a bit. So I focus on that, and I also focus on the fact that Olivia has done a love heart. You know, that is such like a I guess a beautiful thing for somebody that's passed away. This is a dead person's love heart. Let's focus on that. That's what I'm going to do for this book. And in the past, I can see sales in January for Olivia's signature selling for $200, and I can see exact comp for this book for $155 in the US. So chuck on my Australia tax, I could probably get about $200 for this. I can't remember exactly what I priced it up as, but it was around that $150, $200 mark, and I paid $6 for it in Vinnie's. So always be checking out signatures of people that have passed away. I think one of my, not really holy grails, because I never really watched his show, but Anthony Bourdain has I think it's a biography. It's either a biography or a cookbook, maybe both. And his signature, you can probably ask for about $1,000. So that's somebody that has passed away that, you know, if you see his book, always pick it up and check for that signature. I've said a million times, Norm Macdonald, if I ever find that, I'll probably keep it for myself. But yeah, anybody that had a book and has passed away and it's a biography, check for a signature. Same with, you know, different areas of thrift stores. You know, the current US president has a couple of books that were previously written for him. I always check them because I can't imagine what the signature of that would cost. I don't know if he signs many of them, but anybody that is of interest to people out there, they're going to pay a lot of money for signatures. And yeah, pretty cool. So we have a couple of other pickups that we found this week. Facebook Marketplace, we had a really cool one, a Meta Quest 2. Now, a Meta Quest is the VR goggles, the VR glasses. I found one before, which was the original Meta Quest. It was pre-owned. It was old technology. I paid $50 for it, and I think I sold it for about $250. And I thought, you know, eventually I'm going to find the next one, the Meta Quest 2, and then maybe the Meta Quest 3, and I'll be able to try out all the different VR. You know, I tried the original Meta Quest. Some of the VR, it was insane, man. Like I think I said on the podcast that I was floating through space at one point in time, and I let all of my family have a go at it. My mum, when she put it on, she was like, nope, this triggers, you know, my fucking vertigo or whatever. This one, unfortunately, was brand new and sealed. I mean, I say unfortunately just for the fact that I couldn't test it out, but it was brand new and sealed. I went out to pick it up. I paid $125 for it on Marketplace. And these fucking rich cunts, I'm like, oh, you just never used it, did you? He's like, oh, nah, man. Like, I've got a few others upstairs. This one was just a spare. Like, you have a fucking spare, you know, like $500 VR headset just sitting around. Fucking rich people, man. So I paid $125 for it on eBay. There's very little that are brand new and sealed. You can get about $300 for pre-owned. Brand new, a bit more, $350. Here in Australia, not that many. So here's what I did. I put it on Marketplace for $300 and on eBay for $425. And look, I want to be accessible. I would prefer to buy something for $1 and sell it for $100, but I'm okay with spending $125 on an item if I can sell it for, you know, $400 or $300 on Marketplace very quickly, because the sell-through rate on these is really high. The fact it's brand new and sealed too, you know, I can't complain with that. Now, the next thing that I found on Facebook Marketplace was actually from back in November, and it was at a listing that I usually can't stand. It had a title of digital video camera. What would you pay? And I fucking hate when buyers can't decide on how much they want to charge for something. Like, you're essentially wanting the highest price without doing any of the fucking legwork. Like, this person's going to get lowballed, they're going to get harassed, and in most cases it probably isn't worth your time to send through a message. But it must have been a slow week for me, because back then in the first week of November, I sent through a message and I offered $50, and she accepted it because I was able to go out there and I was able to get it quickly. So the camera has been sitting on my table for like the past 4 months, just collecting dust. I was going to keep it. I was going to gift it to, you know, Sam and her partner, because we were going to do home videos for a while, you know, with the kids. But I was like to Sam once, do you want me to bring the camera? And she's like, yeah, you could, or I could just use my phone. And I'm like, well, she doesn't want to use the camera. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to use it either. Like, what am I going to use a home video camera for? It's a Canon Lagria FS200. It's like a camcorder, you know? It has the little pop-up screen. I don't think it's new. Like, it's pretty old technology. But on eBay, you can get decent money for it. But before I tell you how much you can get for it, I picked it up, brought it home. It didn't come with a charger, and the battery was completely dead. So that's really fucking fun, right? So I needed to either buy a new battery, or I could get a battery charger and hope that the old battery just needed like a bit of a charge. So I opted for the latter. I bought the cheapest charger I could find. The battery charger arrives. It was probably about a month ago. And what do you know? The old battery is just completely dead. It doesn't work. Great. So now I needed to buy the new battery, and that was recent. I just finally got around to it. I charged it up. Everything worked. We can get really good money for it on eBay. There's a recent sale in February for $320. I have the brand new battery charger. It's all in the box. $320. There's a sale for a bit less than that, so I'm going to aim for about $250. The thing is here, like the lesson here, man, is just don't buy things and have them sit around for months. Like, don't be fucking lazy like me. If it needs a new battery, just buy the battery straight away. Otherwise, you're really just wasting your own fucking time. And the final thing that I found on Facebook Marketplace, it was yesterday. It was just yesterday. I wasn't going to include this because we've already talked about jerseys today. But look, I got home. I was out most of the day. I was tired. I was hungry. Hadn't had dinner. I was exhausted. I slumped on the couch. I just rotted there until about 7 p.m., right? And then I jumped onto Facebook Marketplace to see what was around. And this is like the dumbest logic, right? Because I don't want to go out. Again, I'm tired. And yet the only reason to open up Facebook Marketplace would be like, can I come out right now? So fucking dumb, man. I swear to God, I got rocks in my head sometimes. It must be a habit. So I couldn't pass it up. It was a 1994 Manly Sea Eagles NRL jersey for $75. The lady had it listed as just Manly NRL t-shirt. It was fading a bit, but that's the charm of these vintage jerseys. I paid $75 and I've listed it up on eBay for $300, Marketplace for $200. I think it'll be a quick flip because you know how jersey buyers are. The funny thing is with this woman is she had a newer jersey, like a retro one. That's when the jerseys are made today, but they're made to look like they were the jerseys from like the 90s or the early 2000s. She had one that was priced more than this at $100, and it was worth less than this specific jersey. Some people just know this. They see old, they see fading, they see not in the best condition, and they think it's not worth that much money. Completely wrong. This will be $75 into $300 on eBay, $200 on Marketplace. And that's all that I picked up this week. There's probably, how much value is there? A lot of fucking value. I guess I didn't get enough time, or I guess I didn't get to hit up the thrift stores and the op shops that much this week. And again, it also is somewhat difficult to be able to find consistently $100 plus items in thrift stores. I found plenty of cool shit this week that was, under $100. I just couldn't justify buying it, mostly because I was like, do I really want to buy this, list it up for $50, take it home, take photographs, do all that sort of bullshit, and it's stinking hot. I can't be fucked. So I was only picking up items that I knew were going to sell for over $100, if not a bit more. But anyway, I think now we should take a quick break and we should announce the winner of last week's podcast contest. All right, we're going to do this in real time to determine a winner. And look, if you thought you were having a bad week, just imagine every single day for the past 7 days, I've had somebody send me through an email that just had the word disappointment in it. That's right. The code word for the contest was disappointment. I was getting submissions constantly from people just saying disappointment. I felt like that chick that walked through the town in Game of Thrones with people just screaming shame at her, pelting her with tomatoes and lettuce. That's what happened this week. Just constant barrage of the word disappointment. So I'm going to use the exact same website that we used last time to find a winner. And that's going to be a wheel of names. So I'm going to, again, I'm doing this in real time. Every single person got the code word right. I mean, not a big clap on the back considering you just had to literally listen for a word. I can't imagine anyone would get that wrong. But how do we do this? Okay, seeing as everybody has gotten the code word right, I'm just going to put every single person's email address into this publicly accessible website. Enjoy the spam. Maybe I should do this a different way. All right, I have all of the names. They're now in the wheel. Let's spin the wheel and see who the winner is. Now, what did I say? You can win a $50 gift card, and it is to your thrift store of choice. It's gonna be Vinny's, Savers, Salvos. As long as you can buy a gift card, you can win. And should I turn the volume on for this? I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but here we go. The wheel is about to spin. Good luck to everyone that entered. We don't have like crazy amounts of entries, so your chances of winning are high. Here we go. Here goes the wheel. It's spinning. Don't know if you can hear it. Spinning, spinning, spinning. The winner is, I won't say the full name. It is, congratulations to Jen Stock Photo. Jen has won a $50 gift card to whichever thrift store she chooses. All right, let's move on and see what we have sold this week. I think we've had a good week of sales. I can't really tell. The week just blends into itself. We're going to start off with an item that I would have really fucking loved to have as a kid. This was a 1998 Small Soldiers Chip Hazard talking action figure. I felt like I didn't buy this that long ago. I went and picked it up off Marketplace. I paid $5 for it. It has sold on eBay for $110. I remember when I got this figure, he was advertised as talking, and no, I mean, like, when he was originally, produced, manufactured by the company in 1998, he was talking. The lady that I bought it from said she doesn't know if he was talking. Brought it home, took the batteries out, replaced them, didn't work. I gave it a good bath in some WD-40, cleaned it all up, and this guy ended up talking. It was, Tommy Lee Jones from Small Soldiers having his little catchphrases. Really fucking cool. $110 for him. And this is just a reminder that if you get something with a battery compartment, you get it home and it doesn't work, just try out, I'd use some nail polish remover at first on the little spring things. That didn't work, and then I just, fucking sprayed the shit out of it with WD-40, and for some reason that works. I don't know why it works, it just worked. I didn't Google it to see if it worked. I just thought that, WD-40 seems to fix most things. So yeah, it worked. What do you know? If you want to see some of the phrases or hear some of the phrases that he says, I released a video the other day on social media. You can check it out. It's me basically fixing up Chip Hazard and pressing the button, and Tommy Lee Jones saying a couple of cool catchphrases. It's really collectible, man. If you find anything Small Soldiers when you're out at thrift stores or garage sales, always pick it up. And the cooler, rarer stuff like bedspreads and pillowcases, you will get good money for that. So always be picking that shit up. And it just also makes me think that one area in thrift stores that I completely ignore is baby clothes. But when I was walking through the children's area this week, I noticed that a lot of their clothes, and I guess it comes with the territory, are like graphic prints. Like the normal men's section at a thrift store, the prints they're mostly just plain, right? But you go to a kids area, they're graphic tees, they got really cool prints. And it makes me think, I wonder if I should be looking in, the kids area for old school vintage t-shirts. And yes, they're smaller than what, an adult can wear, but you'd still be able to get good money for them if they're cool prints, right? I think I might do that, or I might, maybe I'll do that this week and I'll report back to see if I can find any cool vintage prints. Because I do think that us resellers, or at least, I'm projecting here, but wouldn't look there because, nobody would fuck us to have kids. That's not true. Resellers are the most fuckable people on the earth. Anyway, the next item was a thrift store pickup. It was picked up from Savers, and believe it or not, it was behind the cabinet. I was walking out, I had nothing. I did my usual walk by the glass cabinet to see if there was anything cool in there. I don't know anything about jewelry, so I don't know why I looked there. But I saw on the back of the cabinet there was this Napoleon Total War Emperor's Edition. It was a box. It was, when you buy video games nowadays, you can buy just the game for like I don't know, $100, or you can buy the game plus like a little action figure that comes with it, maybe a booklet, maybe something else, and you pay like fucking $3 million for it. This was the game Napoleon Total War. It's like a old school war game. It had its original cardboard slip on it. So I asked the chick, can I have a look at this? Opened it up. I did that annoying thing where, she had to stand there while I looked at every single fucking thing, and I'm going as fast as I can. I open it up. Everything inside looks brand new. We have a statue that's still wrapped up. We have like a game book. We have all the collector's items inside. Now, I'm not going to be that person that says, hold up, I'm going to look this up on eBay. I saw it was $30 and I thought, well, this looks like I could at least get double this on Marketplace if need be. So I buy it, pay $30. I get home and I look up the comps, and the comps, I'm not kidding, the active listings were legit like $30 to $50. And I'm thinking like, this was such a bad buy. Why are you buying things without looking them up, Matt? You're a fucking idiot. Then I realized that the comps were for mostly used items, items that weren't in the best condition. And I think that's what savers used for their research, because I listed this thing up after looking to see like there was nothing else that was brand new. I chucked it up for fucking $150, hoping that like a pure collector, a collector that only buys brand new collectibles would snatch it up. And I was right, man. This thing was sold for $150 to some person in Italy, and their postage and VAT was an extra $126, meaning they paid $275 for this fucking thing. I paid $30 for it. They've spent almost $300 to get it to Italy. And I've never played this game before, Napoleon Total War, but I fucking love Rome Total War. If you've ever played that, it's basically a turn-based real-time strategy game, but you can also go into like a first person, is it first person or like third person, whatever, like POV of like storming the Roman capital or laying siege. It's like a Carthaginian, what's the fucking word? A Carthage town. I fucking don't know the word. But yeah, really fucking fun game. I haven't played it in years by now, but I love that game. So I was familiar with what like the Total War series was. So yeah, we had that sale. Oh, the box also included like a satchel. So some of the pre-owned satchels that were on eBay had, leather peeling. They just looked really tatty. This one was still inside its plastic. So I think having all of that included and being brand new is why the person bought it. If you want to see photos, by the way, if my really poor description isn't enough, go onto flipweekly.com, check out this week's newsletter. It's all there for you to take a look at. Now, the next sale, it took all of 10 fucking minutes. And you know what it was? It was the Newcastle Knights jersey. Bought for $20 this week, sold $200 on Facebook Marketplace. $200 motherfucking dollars. And there's a golden rule for this. Somebody messaged me very, very quickly and he said, can I offer you $150 for this? I said, no, I can't do that. It had just been listed, and he immediately responded saying, okay, fine, let's do 200. When you have a highly desirable item and you get an offer within minutes, within seconds sometimes, this is a classic sign that your item is most likely going to sell very, very soon. It's happened to me on multiple times, and yeah, an offer that quickly, always turn it down, aim for full price. I probably priced this too low, but I do not care, because that $20 jersey sold for $200. And if that doesn't convince you to go to your local Savers, head straight to the men's activewear and try and replicate this success, I do not know what will, because that sold so motherfucking quickly. I was sad to see it go. No, I'm not sad to see it go. I didn't have enough time to grow to love this thing, right? I didn't get attached to it. $20 in 200. You know what else sold quickly this week? The Meta Quest 2. This was out the door in less than 48 hours. I bought it for $125. It sold on Marketplace for $300. It sold so quickly that in my Messenger notifications, the person that came and got it thanked me for the sale before the other person that I bought it from removed the listing. I can see the order of the notifications, and it's like, my buyer saying, thanks, Matt, for the sale. And then the other guy is like just removing it from Marketplace. So this guy, when he was sending through messages to me, technically took 2 days, but the person that messaged me on Facebook the night that I bought this was the person that ended up buying it. And he was like, can I come around tomorrow and get this from you? And I was like, we had a bit of a conversation, and I said, look, I will mark it as pending for you, and I'll take it down from eBay if you're 100% positive that you're going to come around. Because that's something I really hate to do, is take an eBay listing down when it has people viewing it and watching it. And he said, yes, lock it in. That was his words, lock it in. So I'm like, all right, lock it in. The next day, I get a message when he was supposed to come around, and he said, look, I can't. Unforeseen circumstances. I honestly just roll my eyes. And he's like, look, I can give you a deposit. I still want to buy this. Can I give you a deposit? I'm like, no, just let me know the next time you want to come around and buy it. Just make sure that you're like, I guess 110% positive that you want it. So the next day he messages, and he ends up coming around, pays me $300 for it. And that was a really, really easy sale. So 125 into $300 in less than 2 days. So that's one thing that I'm really happy with in 2026 is the items that we're buying, they're selling quickly and we're making good money on. But the thing is, it's taken this amount of time to get to this position. Going back to 2024, when I first started, I was really fucking bad at picking up items. I think because I followed some really, really bad advice. And the items that I picked up, I said recently I wanted to cull, right? I wanted to give them away. I wanted to get rid of them. I think the universe heard that, and they decided, hey, Matt, we're going to completely destroy your average sale price by having them sell on eBay. And these items, man, I reduced them so much that I probably would break even on half of them. There was one here that was a football that I picked up in 2024. I can't even remember how much I paid for it. And I reduced it down to $24.95 with free postage. After eBay fees and posts, I swear to God, I would probably break even, if not lose a bit of money. So that's sold this week. So that's a $25 item, dragging my fucking average sale price down. And there was another one from 2024, which was a comic that sold for $30. At least it was off to the UK for a bit of postage to bring the fucking sale price up. But then there was another one, which was a fucking Arsenal, like Arsenal, the soccer team, as a teddy bear. Again, I picked this up in 2024. It looks like a fucking Beanie Baby. That sold for $25 with free post. What on earth am I thinking? Why am I buying this? Why am I buying what is essentially a motherfucking Beanie Baby? Why am I still keeping it in my store? I don't know why I didn't get rid of this when I did my last cull. There's no excuses for that because that was not that long ago. Maybe I didn't see it. Maybe I don't want to think that I made an active decision to keep this shit. I'm just going to say I overlooked it all, okay? Just to make myself feel a bit better, right? The next one I don't have any excuses for. It was a Polly Pocket that I picked up not in 2024. It was very late last year. Sold for $40. It was one of the ones that was bought in the bundle and didn't have any figure, so you couldn't really sell it for much. So I'm not too upset about that sale because I could have just donated that, but still $40, whatever. But yeah, I can't believe that, you know, these items that all would have probably been on my cull list, all like close to that $30 mark. I don't want anything in my store that's $30. I want $100 and up. They're all selling. Like, what the fuck, man? This is like the universe trying to do a good thing for me by getting rid of them, getting me a bit of money instead of just donating them and getting no money. But I'd prefer to get no money so my average sale price doesn't go out. Like, it's an arbitrary number, true. But come on, like, I'm tracking this. I'm sort of tracking it. I said last week I only look at it when I'm talking to you, but still, I was scared to check it now. It's gone down. My average sale price for 2026 now is $146.88. Yes, we're up 51% from last year, but looking at it, like, I would much rather be closer to $200 than to that $100 mark because it's so easy to slide down. It's so hard to like get that higher. I just hope that we have a couple of big sales in the upcoming week so that we can shoot that back up. Like, I want $200 plus. I do not want to be selling $20, $30 items because when I hear that ka-ching, I'm going to be so disappointed. We can't say disappointed anymore. That's been the fucking word of the week every single day. An email. Matt, you got a new email. What does it say? They're disappointed. Fucking hell. Not just from podcast listeners either. Everyone else that fucking emails me. Anyway, that was majority of the sales this week. If you want to see photos of those sales, head to flipweekly.com. Check out the newsletter. It's all there for you to read. Now, I'm afraid that's all I've got for you this week. If you made it this far, drop a comment wishing yours truly a happy birthday. That's all your old man host wants. If you're listening on a podcast platform where you can leave ratings and reviews, drop one of those. Thanks again for tuning in. For photos of items mentioned in this week's podcast, go to flipweekly.com. For videos, go to our social media. I'll see you again next week.
Flip, 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 flip.
Flip Weekly.